I mean, I read this thing like I think when I was scrolling on Instagram, people care too so much about themselves that they don't really think much about what the other person themselves is doing. So if you think you mess up or you think you have not done something or like you're scared of doing something, you just have to tell yourself like, do other people really care? Like, would
Yeah,
I myself care if somebody else did this? And if your answer is no, then that's
yeah,
easy.
true. Absolutely. Beautifully put. Every voice matters, especially when it comes from the youth that shape the future of our generations, of the coming generations. Join us in these thought provoking conversations and empowering discussions with Proma Basu. She's joining from Amsterdam. And thank you, Proma, for being on my channel, Say Something with Mads. I am Madhumita, so the channel is called Say Something with Mads. So there will be some mad questions coming your way. But before that, Proma, are you this name is a lovely name. Tell me what is the
Thank
meaning
you
of
very
the name
much.
and introduce yourself. Who are you? What is your passion? What do you do? What are you studying now? And how has been your schooling? Where have been you? Where did you pass out from? And so on and so forth. A little bit about yourself.
Okay, so hi everybody. First off, thank you very much for having me today. I'm very excited to do the interview. My name is Proma. It has Sanskrit roots. So it comes from the word Pramana, I believe, which means true knowledge or wisdom.
Okay.
And yeah, my name was given to me by my mom. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something very special to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently 19. I'll be turning 20 in May. I study at the University of Amsterdam. I'm doing my bachelor's in communication science, and I love it here. I love meeting people. I love hanging out with my friends in my free time. I enjoy art and music quite a lot. Always been passionate about that since I was a kid, and especially in my family, music is so important. So definitely, I love those things. And yeah, if I must be on, I graduated from high school in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and now I'm here.
All right. So, what's your favorite cuisine? What you like to eat? Do you like to cook?
I do enjoy cooking. I will admit, when I first moved abroad, my diet was mainly hummus and bread, which I don't think is very chef-like of me. But as I've progressed, I think I've leveled up to be able to cook biryani now, and I can make
Oh,
chicken curry. So yeah, we are
that's great.
developing. Yeah.
Uh, so we have a lot of discussions as we move ahead in our conversations today, but let's take our audience to straight away to the topic on the plate today. So this is about handling social anxiousness. So
Yes.
I would ask you that you chose this topic. The option was given to you to choose the topic, and you chose this topic. This
Yeah.
is something I think many of us go through when we were young, but we don't give it a name. We don't know what it is. But now, with a lot more people talking about this, we know that yeah, most of I would say 80% of people go through this, and they think that they are not good enough to speak in public places. They shy away from meeting people, and I think this is something which we need to talk about. So, Proma, tell me why you chose this topic and what you have to say about this socially anxious people, and what are the symptoms, will you say? And first of all, why we chose this topic?
So I chose this topic because I'm okay. For first off, little disclaimer: I am not like a psychologist. I'm whatever I will say in this interview. I won't. I'm not I'm not a professional. You cannot take this as clinical advice. But social anxiety is not a one shoe fits all kind of thing. Ever since I was a kid, I had a lot of ambition, but I never put myself out there. I never made myself be known to different things and different experiences because I was very afraid of not being accepted. And I think that is
Hmm.
where it really stems from, your fear of not being accepted, which
Hmm.
logically it makes sense because as a human being, you need community to survive, you need community to function. But the fear of not being accepted into your community is what I think festers social anxiety. And it depends on how intensely you feel it, because for some people it can be a fleeting thing. It happens at the start and then they do it and then it goes away. But for a
Mm,
lot of people, you can get a panic attack, you might start sweating, you might start trembling. It's a huge spectrum. And
mm,
I wanted to talk about it because I had experiences with it where I could have been something, could have done something that when I look back now, I go like, oh, I wish I did it. I have regrets about it. And
mm,
I really don't want other people to feel like that. I want people to, even if maybe not my solutions, but do their best to really put themselves out there so that when they look back on their years, they're going to be like, oh, I'm glad at least I did it. And I really don't want them to feel that discomfort and pain of not, of always being scared of not being accepted. So yeah, just want
mm,
you to be
mm,
more comfortable in yourselves.
mm. So take us back when you were very young, like maybe when you're just about entering your teens. So do you remember going back that the feelings, like what are if you remember some incidents where you felt that now looking back that I could have done, as you said, that certain things I could have done. But how was your teen years? You're just, you're 19, but yes, coming
Mhm.
from 13 to 19, how has been your teen years in school? Why do you think you were not accepted by your peers? And tell us something about how do you navigated this?
So in high school, I was very, very introverted and shy.
Okay.
Um, I remember whenever we would take photos, whether it would be class photos or photos amongst like people I knew or my friends, I never wanted to be in them because I was very
Mm,
uncomfortable. I got very anxious about like, oh, if I'm in the photo, I might ruin the whole thing. So I would never want
okay.
to be in the photo. Or whenever we would have school functions, I would never go to my peers who were organizing it. I would always go straight to the teacher and I'd be like, hi, I can design, I can draw, I can do art for you. Can I be part of this? And then the tutor would put me into the team. It was never something I would go and ask my peers to
Directly
do
going.
because I was too scared of them. So that's how I used to get into the functions. And I would show my tutor my work and then she would be like, okay, I think you're qualified. But I would
Mm,
always go the other way around. I would never go straight to my friends or like the
mm,
people who are organizing it. And even once I got into the teams, I was always kind of on the sideline. There was a very strict boundary I would draw between me and like the others. So I think I was the reason I could not include myself in my group because I was scared that they would not like me. The reality
mm,
was fully different. Like they probably would not have minded, me coming in and talking to them and being more
mm,
involved, but
mm.
it was just my own fear of not wanting to face the situation.
True. Mm,
Um, so I would never voice out my thoughts. I was very in my boundaries. And looking back, that really limited me from making deeper connections and relationships with people.
mm,
Um, so yeah, I really do want to. I have learned, like at least in the last year or so, that I've gradually begun getting over my social anxiety. There are
mm,
maybe two, three things I've started doing which have helped me get over this. But yeah, that was kind of like a summary of my teen years. I'm not saying that
mm.
they were bad. I had wonderful times. I had
Yeah, yeah.
had a
Mm,
small, close knit group of friends. I had a very loving family. They were my main support system.
mm,
Um, so I'm not saying like I had bad experiences. I had wonderful experiences. But every time I do look back, I always do think, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. Yeah.
mm. True. And Prama, you were very talented, as you said. You are good in art. You're good in singing. You had a lot of talent. In spite of that, not to feel that I'm not good enough, or maybe I will not be accepted, is something really. I feel that people who are more creative and people who have some talent of going on stage, they will be the first one to go and tell. So it was the other way around for you, in spite
Yeah, I
of all
guess
this.
so.
So yeah, that's something. Brahman, do you think that this is very common? Do you think people like your age do suffer a lot from this kind of anxiousness? Do you see your friends
Mm,
also? Or you say that no, it is like, okay, most of them are very upfront, they are extroverted. Even extrovert people are also socially anxious, but they show that they are extrovert.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like I said, it's on a spectrum, really differs from individual to individual. But I do feel that like from the ages of about 14 to 16, there is not a lot just changing in you, but a lot changing in the people around you.
Mm,
Um, and sometimes as a result of the change, because you continue to mature and whatnot, you start seeing things differently, you start perceiving things differently, you are way more emotional in the
mm,
years of like 14 to 16, even 17.
yeah.
Sometimes you're very, very emotional.
Mm,
And because of that, your tendency to read between the lines even when it's not really needed
not there. Mm,
can create, your own, like you can be the creator of your own chaos, basically. It's all in your head. And yeah, I do feel that between 14 to 16, it's very prominent. But I think gradually around 18, 19, it will start calming down.
mm.
So there is
I don't
light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I don't know whether I should ask you this, but do you think this is more common among girls, or you feel that even boys, because you have a brother who is also
Mhm.
growing up, he's a teen. So do you think that it's more common in girls? Do they judge themselves to be perfectionists, or do you think it's gender neutral?
Mm, that's uh that's interesting. That's actually something I have not given that much thought.
Mm,
I do think perhaps girls do experience it a lot more,
not more.
because I think the expectations placed on
Mm,
girls are a bit more than men, for example.
mm,
Not saying that men don't feel socially anxious. Of course they do. They also have their own stereotypes and battles that they have to counter themselves.
mm, mm.
But as a woman in a patriarchal society, it can be a bit difficult
Yeah.
to prove yourself and to, overcome boundaries when people are always expect you to behave in a certain way, act in a certain way, do a certain thing, be a certain thing,
Look in a certain way.
look in a
Externally,
certain
you have
way.
to, yeah.
It's
Mm,
yeah, yeah. So I think girls may experience social anxiety a lot
mm.
more than men. Yeah.
What do you think that shifting away from Dubai and going back, going to university, had the change of place, a totally new people whom you started interacting with, has made you realize your potential better? So you think it's a change of place is
Absolutely.
always a better? Hmm?
Absolutely. I won't necessarily say change of place, because I think all I really needed was a drastic shift in my life. And if it had to be a change of literal location and flying across a continent, then I agree. This has been probably one of my best decisions ever, because
Mm,
I have felt very happy here. I'm very thankful for the people I've met and the experiences I've had.
mm.
So yeah, definitely the change of places helped me overcome social anxiety so, so much. So yeah,
True.
I agree.
But I think you are, or we, this generation of young people, many of them are privileged to even say that they are going to study abroad in some other country where you are not restricted by certain things and you have a thought process. You're surrounded by
Mhm.
different people, you're open minded. But many people don't have this option. So,
Right.
Prama, what would you say to them to how to handle the negative thoughts, anxiousness which you went through, not meeting people, just shutting
Mm.
them that I don't want to open myself, I will be judged. The moment I open my mouth, people will start judging me. So, better to keep quiet, even when you have a lot of substance to speak. So, if they don't have an option, what is the they can do? What are the things they can practice in their life? What would you tell them?
So there are a lot of things you can do. Um, One of them, as my roommate puts it very well, she calls it exposure therapy. And that's quite literally forcing yourself to face the situations you're scared of.
Mm,
So if you're, because for example, I was very terrified of public speaking in high school. And then I forced myself to go attend the Model United Nations and speak up. It took me to Model United Nations to actually go ahead and speak, but I kept putting
mm,
myself in those situations and trying to, climatize my mind to exactly what is going on around me and processing it before I went ahead and did it. And
mm.
now I'm very comfortable with public speaking. That's
Right.
probably one of the best ways you can try that. Aside
Mm,
from that, I also really recommend visualizing. They talk about this concept in a lot of different books. It has different names, but the
mm,
concept is the same. They talk about it in a lot of self-help books. And that
mm.
is, try to visualize yourself as the best version of you.
True.
Visualize the kind of person they are, the habits they have, the lifestyle they lead, like every minor detail, how they look, what they eat, what they wear. And after you write that down or have that image ready, go ahead and become that person. So the next day you wake up, do the habits that you said your best version of yourself does. Show up as this person to your school, to your meetings, to and when you keep doing that, you might even embody that person, and that also really
Mm,
helps. And
mm,
I also really, really think journaling helps. I don't do it very regularly. I'm guilty of that. But
mm,
journaling is an amazing way that actually one of my friends recommended to me. They said, try it. And I did. And I just sat and put all my thoughts onto paper, everything,
mm,
every minor detail.
mm.
And when I finished, it was like taking a weight off my shoulders. I felt very alleviated. And when I looked
True.
back on it, I could identify what triggered me, what caused me to feel in a certain way, and then I can learn or teach myself how to cope with that better. And it's a great way of reflecting, because then it can really help you realize whether this is something you can really deal with on your own, or if you need to go to therapy, if you need more support. Like, it's a great, great way of reflecting and understanding yourself. And I think that's a very key element in getting over where your anxiety is stemming from exactly. So yeah, I 100% recommend
Recommend
these things.
beautiful recommendations. And actually, when you were speaking, I was looking back my teen years. I had filled up maybe 15 diaries full of big fat everyday journaling, writing, but I
Yeah,
never went back to read them, because once I started reading, they found it so silly what all we wrote. Like, it's just that you can't speak everything to your parents, and not even to your best friend, but certain things they won't understand. So the
no.
journaling is one of the best things you should continue doing. Yeah.
I mean, I read this thing like I think when I was scrolling on Instagram, and I think it made perfect sense to me, because it said people care to so much about themselves that they don't really think much about what the other person themselves is doing. So if you think you mess up, or you think you have not done something, or like you're scared of doing something, you just have to tell yourself, like, do other people really care? Like, would
Yeah,
I myself care if somebody else did this? And if your answer is no, then there's
yeah,
nothing.
true, absolutely, beautifully put. What do you think is the biggest challenge today's youth is facing?
I think the main challenge that the youth face is hustle culture. It's such a big thing. Everybody these days wants to become an amazing person in a high position with a lot of power. And even with now we have so much social media and everything is globalized, everything people see these days is people in successful positions and established positions at 20, 25, 18, 19.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden you feel like you are not doing enough, you are not excelling enough, you are not um you know successful enough. And I think if this is a challenge to the youth, because I'm not saying don't be successful. You have to
mm,
go ahead, put yourself out there, do what you're passionate about, be what you want to be. Nobody's stopping you. But I also do think if you fully immerse yourself only in
the
success,
success. Mm,
you will miss out on the other parts of life that make life life. You will miss
mm,
out on the small moments, literally, like what people do on a day. If you go to a cafe and just sit down for a bit, if you will see people being people, you will miss out on the moments that create your present. And I think that that is
mm,
so important, because it gives you time to understand what you are, what you're doing, where you are. It gives you time to reflect. And I think that
mm,
is so, so important in building your success for the future.
mm,
So yeah,
true.
that's definitely something, a challenge, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, we are all looking at the end goal so soon, when it is going to come. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
it's the journey itself. We are forgetting that journey is the most beautiful part. When you reach
Yes,
that goal,
exactly.
then what? So it doesn't matter if your journey is long, difficult, or it still feels very long and long way to
Yeah,
reach your goal, but that's actually what the life is all about. All right, Prama,
exactly.
tell me, this is, I know you are very close to your parents, you said, but honestly tell me, how is parents can be your best friends ever? Do you think that's possible?
This is might be a bit of a controversial topic in my opinion because it really, really depends on your dynamic with your parents. Because with my parents, I can say that they are my best friends because they understand me and I understand them. They are not trying to impose any expectations on me or my brother. They're not trying to mold me into something that maybe I don't necessarily want. They're always there when I want them to listen to something, when I want them to be there for me. So there's a mutual understanding between each other. And I think my parents are very, very open-minded people. Uh, things that, perhaps others might find a bit they might be a bit skeptical about. My parents will hear me out. They'll hear my perspective on it. And if they always ask me, do you think you're doing the right thing? And if I say yes, then they're like, okay, do what you want to do. But
Mm,
I also have a lot of friends who do not have this relationship.
mm,
Their parents maybe they have maybe different values. They maybe have
mm,
different understandings of what is right and wrong. And that
mm,
does not necessarily match what my friend thinks is right and wrong.
mm,
And you can keep trying to make each other understand, but if you keep hitting a barrier that you cannot
mm.
overcome, then it is difficult for your parents to become your best friend. At that point, it is better to
True.
just maybe leave it be. So it's a very, I
Mm.
think it's a bit of a controversial
Yeah,
topic.
dynamics are different for every household, everybody. But broadly,
Yeah.
I think it's how you, when you're growing up, what kind of discussions, stable discussions you have, what kind of open process you have of feedback sharing. Um, it starts from a very early age, and suddenly at 17, 18, you can't say that, oh, they are not my friends, they're not listening. It starts
Yeah.
very early, 9 or 10 year old, when children start asking a lot of questions. Are they shut down? Are they given open
Hmm.
answers? So I think that's how this long journey of friendship gets built up.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
This is a question which I ask everybody, and I
Hmm.
look forward to the answer. Who would you call a hero in your life? It could be gender neutral. I mean, hero in the sense, who is your guiding light, or you say hero in your life?
I love this question because my answer will always be my mom.
Okay.
She is she is the most amazing person I know on this planet. Um,
I
like
agree.
her name, her
I
name
know her.
is, yeah, she's absolutely amazing. Her name is Somdatta, and I asked
Mm.
her today, Mom, what does your name mean? And she told me. She said, yeah, she said Somdatta is means a person who is given by the sun or made by the sun. And I think that that suits her so much because every time I see her, she is such a warm and empathetic human being that I find it hard to see in other people. She always sees the good in people. She always is open to change, is open to chances, is open to so much. And she's such a talented human being. And she's given me my values. She's made me the person I am. And I honestly, if I want to be anybody, I want to be her. She is absolutely amazing. When she watches this interview, she's going to cry. Then she'll give me a call.
Quite
She's like, "You're really sweet."
absolutely. I have seen this happen many times. Rama, if you have to write a book on your life, what would be the title of that book?
Oh, this is a good question. I think the title would be Organized Chaos.
Oh, wow.
I
Nice.
definitely think the title would be Organized Chaos because there I feel like I am two spectrums. I mean,
Organized?
two ends of the spectrum. The one on the one end, I have my life together. I'm going out there, I'm doing things, I'm exposing myself to new things. And on the other hand, I'm the same person who will leave a 3,000 word essay one day before the deadline and then stay up till 12 a.m., 1 a.m. and finish it and then put it in. So
Perfect. It's the
organized
perfect
chaos is
title for you.
very fitting for me.
It's another question would be, if you have to switch life with a person for one day, who would that be and why?
Maybe the life of David Attenborough.
Oh.
He's I love his documentaries. I watched a lot of them, and I really want to see the experiences that he went through and what he's
Mm,
seen in his lifetime as a boy, what he sees in nature, because I love nature. Okay, then if
that's
not
okay.
David Attenborough, then I would also love to switch lives with Satyajit Ray. I think he's amazing.
Brilliant
I would
choice.
love to get into his mind and see what he saw.
Brilliant mind. Yes, yes.
Absolutely. I think that would be really cool.
Now is the time when you get to ask me a question. Let's see what you have for me.
Okay, one question I have for you is what are the any tips or what kind of advice would you give to youth or even anybody from the older generations if they wanted to follow a similar career path or pursue what you are pursuing? What advice would you give them? How could they get started if they know nothing?
Okay. You know, this happened by accident. So many good things happen by accident. That's how beautiful life is. We never planned this, but this has been the most fruitful journey of last few months. I have never met so many young people, talk to them so openly. So never thought that this could be possible. But one thing which I think any one of us have, but they don't use it much, which I think I used it maximum, is to, as you said, you also mentioned that you have that anxiety that, okay, how will people take it? People might not, people might reject me. Okay, who are you? Why are you even doing this? Why would, just go out and talk. The more you connect authentically, this is the, if anybody has to do anything where people related, so it's up to be absolutely authentic. You don't have to have a hidden agenda. Okay, much money I'm making, what am my future going to be, what is it? There has to be no agenda. Go agendaless. Just be
Mhm.
yourself and connect person to person, and they will see that you add value to their life, and definitely you can start anything. The only suggestion I want to give anybody, youth or otherwise, is just be agendaless. I don't like people who come with an agenda and say, okay, मैं ये कर लूंगा, but क्या है इसमें? So I just shut, like, okay, no, thank you. You are not the kind of person for me. You might be doing very well in life, but just explore first. Don't
Yeah,
expect first. Explore, what is there in each other's life. So if you are open to that, the world will open up to you and embrace you. All right.
that's really good
Now,
advice.
during before this interview, I had a conversation with you about the topic which is very close to my heart, and about
Mhm.
the UN SDGs. And I would like to ask you, you are studying about this topic, you are a part of a elective, you said. So what is it that you learn in this subject, and what have you learned for past 1 year?
So basically I'm doing the honors program for my bachelor.
Mm.
And as an expectation in the honors program, you have to pick certain interdisciplinary subjects, and one
Okay.
of which was designing innovations for sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a 2-month course. It will end in about a week or so, 2 weeks or so. And the goal of the course is to design solutions to improve the sustainability at the VU. So VU is a university here in Amsterdam. It's called Vrije Universiteit. And they are one of the most sustainable universities in Amsterdam. And they asked honor students from different bachelors to come and create sustainability solutions. They gave us a set of problems and divided us into groups. So one of the problems were creating single-use cups or reducing the use of single-use cups. Another
Mm.
one was reducing climate anxiety, so finding solutions to reduce the anxiety people feel about, oh, the climate change is happening, the
Oh,
world is going to
okay.
end kind of situation.
Okay.
And what my group is working on at the moment is trying to increase the feeling of sustainability on campus. So how can you convince students that you are at a sustainable campus, and how can you influence their behavior as a result of it so that they themselves become more sustainable? And yeah, we have to link these to the sustainability goals, and we have to come up with solutions. I'm actually going to deliver a presentation on it today. Um,
Wow. So what is it that finally after 2 months, so what is it that you have designed for them to become more sustainable? The students, how do you take this message to them?
So we did a survey with multiple students in the university, and we asked them questions like, do you find your university to be sustainable? What does sustainability mean to you? Um, are you a sustainable individual in your daily life? How can your university become more sustainable? And we took their responses and we evaluated it against the campus and the budget. And we came up with sustainability pods. Essentially, they are small cubicles. They do not cost a lot, and actually a bunch exist on the campus. So we're kind of recycling those. And they will consist of, firstly, information that promotes that they are a sustainable campus. Second, it consists of information such as how they can implement sustainability in their lives.
Hmm.
And we are looking to collaborate with different study associations within the VU University to host sustainability related events in these pods and create awareness of this.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
students can start at uni and take away these practices to back home or to their own lives. But yeah, those are things obviously further in discussion, but this is kind of the prototypes that we've been working on so far.
So
We
pods
will
will
see how
be
it
placed
goes.
within university campus. They'll be
Yes,
permanently there.
yes, yes.
And then
Ideally,
activities will
yes.
keep happening,
Yeah,
changes will keep happening, things will keep.
yes,
Nice,
yes.
great, great. And people have free time, they can go to that pod and look up to what is happening, studying there,
Mhm.
sitting there, looking at what is happening around them. That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's an interesting idea and very
because
doable
the
everywhere.
yeah, because students are always walking around campus anyways. They're always going from one place to another. And given the budget we had, which was not a lot, this was probably the most efficient use of resources.
Mm.
Um, because most of the students mentioned that, we know nothing about sustainability. The campus does not tell us anything about sustainability. You are not hosting any sustainability related events. So how will we know what you're doing? So
Okay.
best way
Mm.
is to physically put physical manifestations of sustainability on campus, and then students can expose themselves towards it. And yeah, we hope it will work out. We are going to see
That's a
today.
lovely discussion. Superb idea. First, you take the survey, and then from the survey, you know that, okay, whether people don't know about it, so how to make them.
Mhm.
Wonderful. I'm glad we had this discussion, and this is something I will take from this talk, other than otherwise whatever we had talked. This something which I think I will keep it in mind and write it somewhere where we can do this, replicate in many schools,
Mhm.
and many universities anywhere in the world. So great, great work. So I would like to talk about this later again with you about what the other
Of
groups are
course, of
doing. So
course,
yes,
of course, of
yeah.
course.
All right. So, Prama, so we are at the end of the interview, this beautiful talk, and I know that you are a singer, so I would not let you go without yeah, just humming on two lines to end this, any of your favorite songs, maybe Hindi, English, whatever you want to. So, over to you.
It's by Ruth B.
Mm.
And it was very famous on TikTok. So I will try to replicate her
Please, go
music, but
ahead.
I'm in a field of dandelions, wishing on everyone that you'd be mine, mine. And I see forever in your eyes. I feel okay when I see you smile, smile. Wishing on dandelions all of the time, praying to God that one day you'll be mine. Wishing on dandelions all of the time, all of the time. There you go.
Lovely. What a beautiful song. I must listen to this song. It has lovely
You
lyrics.
must. I love
Oh,
this
yeah.
song.
Thank you so much for doing this on the spot. And yeah, it shows. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Prama. I hope you had as much fun as I had talking to you.
I
What will
did.
be the
Thank you so
parting
much for having
lines?
me. Don't be afraid to do what you want to do in life. You only really live once. So don't spend your days wishing to do something and then reaching a point and thinking, oh, I wish I did them when I was younger. That is
Mm,
something I keep with me all the time. So go do what you want, always.
true, absolutely. Thank you to the viewers who have subscribed to my channel. Keep subscribing, keep showing love to this channel. And week after week, we get youth to discuss issues which are close to their heart, which are global issues. It could be their personal issues, it could be anything. This is the platform for youth. And as I say every week before I end, you have only one planet. Do your bit, a little bit today. Do start from your home and see the change you make. Thank you so much for joining. See you again next week.